What's good, NBA fans? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a hectic couple of days. NBA is officially back. There's a lot to discuss. I'm gonna have a video breaking down every team's debut very soon, so stay tuned for that. I've been locked in on watching basketball, so you haven't really seen me on here as much, but I'm about to start ramping these things up as I get more familiar with things. I'm making this to quickly acknowledge my team because I am a Golden State fan, and their start so far to the season. They're now 1-1 after a loss to the Suns. But after last night's win, they're now 1-1 versus the Sacramento Kings. And I really just want to talk about that game. I'm going to get to like the Suns game in the other video, but focusing on the Warriors. I mean, last night was a crazy experience for me sitting here watching the game. The Kings are a great team. They just are. Offensively, they find ways to put pressure on you. They have the nice handoff actions. Keegan Murray is taking a step in terms of his shot making and three-level scoring. Davion with his quickness. De'Aaron Fox, literally one of the fastest guards that I've ever seen. The way that him and Sabonis operate in their two-man game, how he quickly gets to the rim and can just finish through so much contact. Like, it's ridiculous what he's capable of. Outscoring this entire team for the most part by himself in the fourth quarter. 21 points just solely from De'Aaron Fox. He was great. But I have to say, coming into the season, my expectation for the team is it was going to take some time for us to gel and learn how to play together. I didn't know that Draymond wouldn't be here, so Draymond not being here has provided the team a wrinkle in terms of what to expect, and they've just had to play basketball and lace them up. And last night, we had moments where Kerr was running lineups with Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, an all defensive unit, and that unit wasn't doing great because the spacing to me was very questionable. Kevon Looney, as much as I appreciate what he does in terms of rebounding and playing his role for this team, I feel like athletically he's just not there at the rim. So a lot of times that roll gravity isn't there to open up more opportunities for other people on the court. He's still good. I just think it's not as easy for him to be an impact player offensively at times. And sure, like Steph had a dominant performance. Let's not get it twisted. 41 points on 7 of 10 from the three-point line is absolutely ridiculous. On 19 shots with only 6 free throws is crazy. Like, he was a phenomenal player. But what impressed me more with this performance, beyond just Steph going off, is how we did in the non-Steph minutes. Because when Steph left the floor sometime in that third quarter, we held down the lead and went up 18 points in the third. And it reached a point to where we scored 39 points total in that third quarter. And it's like the effort that you saw from Chris Paul to just make other plays, make extended plays with the ball in his hands, get to his mid-range spot and just close the game out well was good. Now, granted, the way that we closed the game in the fourth quarter wasn't great. The Kings fought back. It became like a 6-point game. Andrew Wiggins runs an inverted pick and roll, gets to the paint, kicks it to the hash. Steph Curry is at the hash. For whatever reason, the Kings just fumble in terms of how they were defending the entire game. They leave them a wide open three off the ball, and we win. That's huge. But the execution with the turnovers and just allowing the Kings to get back in this game with contested layups and threes. I mean, that Kings team just fights. They don't give up. I was never like super confident of us like outright like taking over this game, even when we were up 18, because the Kings team could just make runs in the blink of an eye. They're very like the Warriors in the way that they make these runs. So for me, when I'm sitting there and I'm evaluating where the game is going, that's what I thought. And I feel like this win was the definition of a team win. This win is showing me more and more that the bench unit for the Golden State Warriors is going to be really good. And last year, as you know, the bench unit was one of the biggest weaker points of our team. I mean, Jordan Poole had to create a bunch of offense in limited lineups. We didn't have a big like Dario who could just pop and really space it out, who can attack closeouts and make secondary playmaking reads. And we're doing all this with no Draymond. So guys like Moody, guys like Kuminga who just come in and put their impact on the game, where Moody is just knocking down his shots, very calm about the game, understands exactly where to be with his process and fits super well on the court, crashes the offensive glass to help us extend possessions and create even more offense. And then a guy like Kuminga who can come in, you know, attack people in transition out of the post in the half court, actually get to the basket and get to the free throw line. These are things that we didn't have at a consistent pace last year. And for a team that suffered a 14-0 run, that's right, early in this game, the Kings went on a 14-0 run and we withstood that. Like, we were able to weather that storm and we came back because of the effort from guys knowing where to be, from the three-point shooting, from getting downhill. And we weren't even shooting the ball that well to start the game. So, I mean, for me, this was a tremendous win. Going 1-1 is important. Obviously, the next game is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans, so we got to make sure that we stay locked in on that front. Zion has been flat out amazing. But for this Warriors team, I'm just looking at three things right now. I'm looking at the bench production from night to night, from game to game. I'm looking at Chris Paul's play for the starters and the bench. And I'm specifically looking at the role man, because Trayce Jackson Jr., a guy that I thought wouldn't really get much time because Kerr normally doesn't trust younger players at that level, he's been very solid in terms of his pace, not getting super in foul trouble, understanding exactly how to roll, and automatically, because of his athleticism and his roll gravity, he's just a much better pick and roll partner than Looney. Even though Looney can make better reads because he's more used to understanding where guys are going to be, Trayce's profile shows you he's going to be able to reach that point, especially with his athleticism being what it is, because now you can't just like gap him. Like, if there's not a body in front of him, he's going to be able to throw down that open dunk. So it opens up so much for our team. And also, I got to give this guy some credit. Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is a guy that was struggling to start the year. I didn't like how he looked in preseason. In the last game versus the Suns, Andrew Wiggins only had 1 rebound. His offensive processing wasn't quite there. I also feel like guys didn't really help him out. The fact that Andrew Wiggins made the biggest play of the game at the end off an inverted pick and roll, got downhill and thought to kick the ball, which Wiggins isn't really known to be a guy that can just create with a secondary pass, but that type of read is a big part of why we were able to put the dagger in the game before things got super uncomfortable. And a game like that last year, normally we would lose, where we would be down early in the game, we would fight back into the game, but then when it came down for the execution, we would just, you know, leave people questioning, where are the Warriors? Where is this high level of play that we've been accustomed to? And seeing them not fold, not crumble under pressure, and instead just continually make the right reads was a really great thing for me to see. But obviously, it's only 2 games to the season. We have a lot more basketball to be played, but every win matters. And I keep saying this, the Western Conference this year, there's like 11 to 12 playoff caliber teams. So if we're not locked in on a consistent basis, if we're not handling business against teams, especially on the road, where last year we had a horrendous road record, we had a great home record, horrendous road record, these type of wins matter a lot, especially when you're maintaining a lead and your goal is to stay alive and keep the lead against a good team. The Kings are a good team. I haven't dropped my playoff predictions video yet. That'll come soon, but the Kings are making the playoffs for me. So this is not just some like random thing that we just win and we're like, oh, you know what, that's cool. That's a meaningful win, especially when you don't have a key rotation player in Draymond Green who's going to floor raise our defense and make extended passes. But speaking on Draymond, what I am nervous about is the chemistry between Chris Paul and Draymond on the floor. And it's not just understanding where to be, but the fact that if Draymond isn't spacing the floor with his shooting, which he's never really been like known for outside of 2016 through, I would say 2018 probably, then we're going to be in trouble, because while Chris Paul can make great passes, the defense isn't going to respect Draymond unless he's doing more of those active things off the ball, unless he's rolling in the short roll more. And I know that a lot of people are talking about having Chris Paul and Draymond operate together in a 2-minute game with Steph and Clay off the ball. Defenses are not going to respect that pick and roll to me unless Draymond is being that like crazy roller where he's getting downhill more or he's shooting off the pop more. That's the question. And we got to see exactly how that fits. But still, I think even if you bring Chris Paul off of the bench and Draymond is a starter, I think the difference between last year is we would have to bring Draymond off the bench early to stagger with the bench so Draymond can make the bench better. Now you can just do Steph and Draymond collective staggers, and Chris Paul can be the guy who makes the bench better. I mean, his execution with his passing, shot making, and understanding exactly where to flow off the roll and bounce, he was just phenomenal the entire night with that. And honestly, even in the first game, even though he didn't shoot well, he showed a lot of plays like that where he was making the right read. So if we're able to keep doing these types of things, especially for a team that isn't shooting exactly where they want to be just yet, this could be a very good team in the Western Conference. I still don't view the Warriors as a tier 1 team, but I think they have the execution and the understanding of basketball to play at that level against any team. It's just a matter of consistently doing it, especially with our size problems and the spacing problems we have at times. So it's going to be a long season, but the goal of it to me is for these young players to take this step, get these reps, beat really good teams, understand how to process the game at a higher level. So when they're called upon in the playoffs, they can feel comfortable and confident in that role for us to have success. But had to make a video on that. That was a phenomenal game. I haven't talked too much about Steph Curry, but I'm telling you, like, we really take Steph for granted. Steph is the centerpiece to everything Golden State wants to do. He is the superstar. He is the guy that literally went on the road last year in Game 7, gave the same Kings team 50 points and sent them home. Tonight, he channeled a lot of that same energy with a hyper-efficient 41 points. And if Chris Paul is able to just extend and make those type of reads in the non-Steph minutes, when he's coming in the game, he's not going to be down 15 points. He's not going to be down 10 points. He's going to be up. And if we're dominant in the non-Steph minutes with no Draymond at all, that is a scary sight for a lot of teams, because normally the recipe is Steph balls out. He brings a huge impact to the offense. He changed the entire team dynamic when he's on the floor. But when he's off, it's a dramatic negative. We're not seeing that. And for a team that doesn't really have a reliable second option on a night-to-night basis where I know I'm going to get X or Y from you from a points perspective or a impact perspective, if our answer is depth around it and having the bench produce a bit more, and if Andrew Wiggins takes that step up more in that department, this can be a different team than I anticipated. So I'm going to stay hopeful, and we're going to keep watching basketball. But I got a lot of things coming. I haven't really been as active these past couple of days because I've just been watching the sport a lot more. But I have a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out soon. Stay tuned for that. Sunday, thankfully, I don't have to report anywhere, so I'll have more time to get some things out for the week. But lock in, because this next week of basketball is going to be extending the start of the regular season, and a lot of these teams are really going to show what they're made of. So I'm excited. I know you're excited. If you made it this far, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be getting into a lot more of the details of the game at a later point. Peace out, people. Have a good one.